Hi everybody, Janet Swilley here, Prayer Pond Ministries at Joppa Ranch in Lyons, Georgia. We're in chapter 10, Matthew chapter 10 today, and Jesus has called his 12 apostles. He's given them power to cast out demons, unclean spirits, and the power to heal disease and sickness. The names of these apostles are Simon, who's also called Peter, Andrew, his brother, James, the son of Zebedee, and John, his brother, Philip and Bartholomew, Thomas and Matthew, the tax collector, James, the son of Alphaeus, Thaddeus, Simon, the Canaanian, and Judas Iscariot, who was also Jesus' betrayer. Now, Matthew unfolds this story with a certain amount of drama, the story of Jesus. He shows Jesus accepting his task. In the story of temptations, we see Jesus deciding the method that he's going to use to embark upon his task. And then in the Sermon on the Mount, we listen to his words of wisdom. In Matthew 8, Jesus' deeds of power and healing miracles. And then in chapter 9, we start to see the growing opposition against Jesus. When a leader is going to embark on a great undertaking, they're going to choose their team. And Jesus is choosing his right-hand men, his helpers, those that would carry on his work after he was gone, after he returned to glory. These men were ordinary men, working men. They had no wealth, no academic background, no social position. And Jesus, that's what Jesus does. He looks for ordinary men who can do ordinary things extraordinarily well. Jesus sees what a man is and what he can make him. Jesus chose these men for what they were capable of being under his influence and power. Now, these guys were quite unique. Matthew, the tax collector, he would have been considered a man who sold himself out to the country's masters for gain. And with him was Simon the Canaanian, Luke 6:16, Simon the Zealot. Now, zealots were considered to be the fourth party of the Jews. They were not opposed to dying and going to the extreme to rid the country of any foreign rules. The other three parties were the Pharisees, the Sadducees, and the Essenes. Now, actually, if Simon the Zealot had met Matthew anywhere else, outside the presence of Jesus, he would have stuck a dagger in his back. Quite frankly, that's what he would have done. And that just goes to show you that men who hate each other can love each other in the presence of Jesus. So why did Jesus choose 12 special apostles? I know the first thought is, well, there were 12 tribes. True. In the New Testament, it's work that's glorified, and not men, not the workers. Not that the New Testament doesn't acknowledge their greatness in the church, because in Revelation, we are told that the 12 foundation stones of the holy city are inscribed with their names. Revelation 21:14. Jesus doesn't compel a man to do his work. We are free to be faithful, free to be faithless. Christ needs men who are willing to do his work in this world, willing to live in his presence daily. And these men were willing to do that. They were willing to serve him every day, learn more, draw nearer to him, and closer to God. Here's your first principle. No one can do the work of Christ without coming from the presence of Christ. No one can do the work of Christ without coming from the presence of Christ. No one can do the work of Christ without coming from the presence of Christ.